Have you ever wondered what a battlefield looks like on a miniature scale? A world where strategy, brute force, and relentless determination collide. Not for territory or glory, but for a single precious crumb. This isn't science fiction. It's the daily reality for one of the planet's most formidable hunters. Prepare to witness the incredible, often brutal, world of ants on the hunt. You might think you know these tiny creatures, but you're about to see their world in a way you've never imagined. This is the epic saga of survival, a story written one grain of sand at a time. The hunt begins not with a roar, but with a whisper of chemical signals. A lone scout, a forerunner of the colony, ventures out from the safety of the nest. Its mission is singular and critical. Locate a source of sustenance. Every step is a gamble. The world outside the nest is a treacherous landscape filled with colossal obstacles and lurking predators. A fallen leaf is a mountain to be scaled. A puddle is an ocean to be navigated. The scout moves with a nervous energy, its antennae twitching constantly, sampling the air, tasting the ground, reading the invisible map of scents left by friend and foe. It's a high-stakes game of sensory roulette. A spider's silk, nearly invisible, could be an inescapable trap. The shadow of a bird passing overhead could signal an abrupt and violent end. Yet, the scout presses on. Driven by an instinct billions of years in the making, the survival of its colony depends on its success. Then, a breakthrough. A scent, faint at first, but growing stronger with every step. It's the sweet, irresistible aroma of sugar, the high-energy fuel that powers the tireless work of the colony. Perhaps it's a discarded piece of fruit, a drop of spilled soda, or the sugary secretion known as honeydew from a herd of aphids. The scout's pace quickens. It circles the prize, its antennae dancing over the surface, confirming the nature and quality of the find. This isn't just food. It's a jackpot, a treasure trove of energy that could feed thousands of its sisters and nourish the next generation of the colony. The initial discovery is a moment of pure, unadulterated success. But it's only the first move in a much larger and more complex operation. The real work is about to begin. With the location of the food source confirmed, the scout must now perform the most crucial part of its mission, communicating the discovery back to the nest. It doesn't shout or signal with gestures. Instead, it turns back and begins to lay a chemical trail, a breadcrumb path made of pheromones. As it walks, it intermittently presses the tip of its abdomen to the ground, depositing minute, volatile droplets of a specific chemical compound. This trail is an invisible highway, a scented message that screams food this way. The precision of this act is astounding. The concentration of the pheromones can indicate the quality of the food source, while the path itself provides a clear, unambiguous route for the army that will follow. It's a sophisticated communication system, honed by evolution, that allows a single individual to mobilize a super. Back at the nest, the scout's return creates a palpable stir. Its excited movements and the pheromones clinging to its body alert other foragers. They swarm the scout, their antennae tapping furiously against its body, reading the chemical news of the discovery. The message is received, and the recruitment begins. The first wave of foragers emerges from the nest entrance, their antennae already locked onto the faint traces of the pheromone trail. They move with a unified purpose, a living river flowing through the undergrowth. As more ants join the trail, they reinforce it with their own pheromones, strengthening the signal. The highway becomes a superhighway, a bustling artery of activity pulsing with the collective will of the colony. The initial whisper of the scout has now become a deafening chemical roar, drawing hundreds, then thousands of workers towards the prize. When the foraging party arrives at the food source, the scene transforms into one of organized chaos. The ants swarm over the bounty, a disciplined mob of workers. If the food is liquid, like nectar or honeydew, they will drink their fill, storing the liquid in a special social stomach or crop to be regurgitated and shared back at the nest. If the food is solid, like a dead insect or a large crumb, a different strategy unfolds. Smaller pieces are seized by individual ants and carried away. But for larger items, teamwork is essential. A group of ants will surround the object, their mandibles sinking into its surface. They pull and push in a coordinated effort that seems almost choreographed. It's a display of distributed intelligence. There is no single leader shouting orders, but through a combination of physical cues and chemical signals, They work as one. They become a multi-limbed machine, capable of lifting and transporting objects many times their collective weight. This is the power of the superorganism in action, where the whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts. However, the hunt is rarely the scent of a valuable food source is an open invitation to competitors and rivals. A neighboring ant colony of a different species may catch wind of the discovery, and what began as a foraging mission can quickly escalate into a la war. The foraging trail becomes a battlefront. Mandibles clash, and formic acid is sprayed as the two armies collide. These are not disorganized skirmishes. They are battles of attrition. Workers fight and die to defend their claim, driven by the primal need to secure resources for their own kin. The ground becomes littered with the casualties of this miniature warfare. The ants' dedication is absolute. They will sacrifice themselves without hesitation for the good of the colony, a stark reminder that in the insect world, the individual is secondary to the survival of the collective. And the threats don't just come from other ants. The bustling activity around a food source is a dinner bell for a host of predators. A hungry lizard might dart in, its sticky tongue wiping out a dozen ants in a single, lightning-fast strike. A predatory beetle might ambush a lone forager, its powerful jaws making quick work of the smaller insect. Ant-lions lie in wait at the bottom of their conical sand pits, patiently waiting for a misstep. Every moment spent outside the nest is a moment spent in mortal danger. The ants must balance the reward of the food with the constant risk of predation. They remain hypervigilant. Their ranks of workers interspersed with larger soldier ants, whose primary role is to defend the foraging party from these external threats. Their oversized mandibles are not designed for carrying food, but for fighting and dismembering enemies. Eventually, through strength, strategy, and sheer numbers, the food is secured and the long journey back to the nest begins. A procession of triumphant workers carries the spoils of their hunt. They follow the same pheromone trail that led them to the food, a lifeline connecting them back to the heart of the colony. This return journey is just as perilous as the outbound one, perhaps even more so, as they are now burdened with their precious cargo. They navigate the same obstacles, ever watchful for the same predators. The success of the entire operation hinges on this final leg of the journey. Inside the nest, the return of the successful foragers is a moment of communal celebration and vital importance. The food is distributed throughout the colony with remarkable efficiency. Workers who drank nectar regurgitated, passing it mouth-to-mouth to other workers, to the larvae, and to the queen herself. This process, called trophaxis, is the colony's circulatory system, ensuring that every member, from the youngest grub to the revered matriarch, receives the nourishment it needs. Solid food is broken down into smaller, manageable pieces and fed to the developing larvae. Nothing is wasted. The influx of energy fuels the colony's growth, allowing the queen to lay more eggs, the larvae to develop into new workers, and the entire superorganism to expand its influence. The story of the ant hunt is a microcosm of life itself. It's a tale of exploration, communication, cooperation, and conflict. From the solitary courage of the scout to the unified might of the foraging army, it's a demonstration of how a collective can achieve what an individual cannot. These tiny creatures, often overlooked as we go about our day, are masters of a complex world, playing out an epic drama of survival on a stage beneath our feet. So the next time you see a line of ants marching with purpose across the pavement, take a moment to appreciate what you are witnessing. You're not just seeing insects. You're seeing the relentless, unstoppable engine of a superorganism at work. You're seeing an ancient and powerful force of nature, a tiny titan on an eternal hunt, ensuring its own small, yet immensely significant place in the world. This is the art of the hunt, perfected over millions of years, enacted every single day, right in our own backyards.